Hey YouTube. I know you used to be doing card videos, but today I'm going to do a comic book haul. My first comic book haul after kind of getting back into things. I've picked up, I don't know how many there are, maybe 10 to 15 books here that I'll show today. Most of them Silver and Bronze Age, and then a few moderns, mainly Marvels. I think I've got one DC that I'm going to show. And I've got this one up here. This is going to be the first one I'm going to show just because it's the only graded one I've picked up so far, and I'm going to use it kind of as my backstop. But this is Avengers 28, and it's a CGC 5.5. And it's the first appearance of the Collector. And it's also when Giant Man becomes Goliath for the first time. It's from 1966, so it's a pretty old book. It's in nice shape. Just looking at it, I can tell it wasn't pressed before it was put in, before it was sent in, because it's got some overhang here, and it's got some spine ticks that I think would have looked a lot better if they'd been pressed. But I picked this up in a local shop for, I don't know, like $40 or something. So it's a nice book. It's in good enough shape that it presents well. It has no major defects. One little crease right here above the E in Avengers, but other than that, it looks really good. I don't have these in any particular order except for maybe like the last three, the nicer ones that I've been picking up. This is the only DC book that I've snagged up so far, and this is the Omega Men 3, and of course it's the first appearance of Lobo. In this book, I mainly picked it up just because of the colors. It has very, very, very bright colors, and I've seen some of these that just don't look as good. They're faded. It's in near perfect condition overall. It's got one little stain. I don't think the camera is going to pick it up right here on the bottom left-hand corner on that black. And I don't know if cleaning it will get that off of there or not. So like I thought without that, it has a shot at a 9.8, but it's not going to get a 9.8 because of that. So, maybe like a 9, something like that, depending on how harsh they are on that. And that's without me going through and looking at every page. I haven't taken most of these out of the bags and boards and just looked them over that close yet. I will be doing that. But I picked this one up and quite a few of the other books I've been buying, including the graded one at the Monsters Lair in Lubbock, Texas. So if you're passing through Lubbock, swing in there and hit those guys up. It's a really nice shop. They got a lot of key books. I really enjoy dropping in there. Then I got this one. This is not a high grade book. It's this, I can find one in high grade of this one, no problem. But this is just kind of a classic for anybody that was a comic book fan in the 80s and 90s. This, the first appearance of Apocalypse, X Factor 6. But this one I picked it up out of the dollar box. It was one of their, a little bit higher than $1. I think it was like $10. I got this one, X Factor 24, coming up for around that. I will probably press it, and I think it will take out a little bit of the spine roll, but I'm not going to grade this one. It's not high enough grade to mess with, but I'll probably press it and just put it in a new bag and board and call it good and just have it in my collection, and then probably pick up a graded one because they're not that expensive at some point. And then here's the X Factor 24 that I mentioned. And of course, this is the first appearance of Archangel. And this is kind of goes in the same category as this number 6. Just if you're a fan of comic books during that era, these are must-haves. Even just to have them in a box somewhere and pull them out and look at them occasionally. Angel was one of my favorite X-Men characters. And I really like this entire Fall of the Mutant storyline. I loved it as a kid. I've probably owned well over 10 copies of this one and the number 6 in my lifetime. And so those just were my favorite ones from my childhood. So I always get those and when I get a chance. This is Uncanny X-Men number 221. And this book is the first appearance of Mr. Sinister. And this one's in pretty nice shape. I think it's got some they're not color breaks, but I think it's got a little bit of a spine roll, and then it's got a few indentions here on the surface of the right here along the spine. This book, I think, with the press is going to grade very, very, very high. So I picked it up. I picked it up also at the Monsters Lair. Very cool book. Just one of my favorites as a kid. Mr. Sinister was great, and I love the cover too of Wolverine flying off there. That it just looks really neat. This one I just got in from eBay, and I've got to take it out of this bag and board. It's an older one. It's got some wrinkles on the bag here, but this is Tales to Astonish, featuring Incredible Hulk and Submariner, and it's number 93. And this is just one of the absolute best covers, in my opinion. I've always loved this cover. I've never owned this book before now. I wish I had put it in a new bag and board before I did the video, because you can really see the wrinkles in the bag, but that's okay. But I believe this is the first appearance of Silver Surfer outside of the Fantastic Four book run. So I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that it is. But I'm a huge Silver Surfer fan. And then I love most Incredible Hulk covers just because the green stands out so much, and then the flames around the back and the edges here. I mean, just a great cover. One of my favorite Silver Age covers right there. That one, I think it was estimated on eBay as a 6.5. I don't think it's quite that high. I got a good deal on it, so I'm not worried about that. But I think it's more like a 5, between a 5 and a 6 somewhere. But it's still in nice shape. XMen 52. This is the first appearance of Eric the Red. He's not a major key player, in the X-Men franchise or comic books or anything like that, but he does show up in some different places throughout their history. And of course, in this book here, it's actually Cyclops that's projecting his optic beams out through his hands. But later on, another character does take up the mantle, and that's kind of maybe the more known Eric the Red. But it's a cool cover. I like when first appearances have the character on the cover like this. I just think it really makes it look cool. And so I picked that one up off of eBay. It's in nice shape too. It's probably going to grade at least a 6. It's got some color breaks right here that are the primary issues, but I got to get it into a new bag and board. Also, it's got some tape just holding the bag together right there. So, next time I shoot a video and I have these, I'll throw them into better bags. I may show them real quick, but I'm just now getting back into comics after, I don't know, probably a 4 or 5 years of really not collecting anything other than just cards. So I'll be doing more of these videos as I go. This is Avengers 196, and of course this is very similar to the X-Men 52. Just this is Taskmaster's first appearance, and just such a great drawing of him here on the front. Just really looks cool. This book is in almost perfect condition, except for right here along the bottom. It's almost like just a little bit of the cover is either rolled under or slightly torn. And so I don't know how bad that affects the grade. But obviously it's not gonna grade high because of that. But other than that, the colors are really bright. Everything looks good as far as that goes. And Taskmaster is just a great character. So I was very happy to pick this one up. Next I've got, let's see, Avengers 55. Of course, the first appearance of Ultron, first full appearance of Ultron, and this one's got some off coloring. It's not completely as bright white as maybe as it should be, and it's got one little stain right there. You can probably see. So I'll probably get this one dry cleaned and pressed, and see how it looks afterwards. But I may not grade this one just because of the stains, but it presents well. It's a great cover. You can't go wrong with these books for books in that $50-$60 range. I think it's about what I gave for that one. So if you don't have one of these and you're looking for something cool, definitely pick one of these up. Let's see here. Next, I've got Journey into Mystery. This is 103, and this is This is a really cool Thor book, just because you get two of one major villain of Thor in the Enchantress first appearance, and then you get one of the, I don't know, maybe one of the more fun villains in the Executioner, Scourge the Executioner, which was obviously, I think some of the popularity of this character went up after Ragnarok, because Carl Urban did a fantastic job of playing that character. So, you know, you get these two key Thor villains, both of them on the cover, and before Thor had essentially his own name in the series before it went to being called the Mighty Thor. So it's a very cool book. This one's not in great condition. It's got some flaws. It's got some issues right here along the top. Just some color breaks right here along the top, and then it's got one spot right here around the 12 cents. It's almost like a little mini puncture in the cover, but it presents well. It looks really good. The colors are bright, and that's really what appealed me to it. I've seen some of these where the Bifrost drawing here is very dim and dull, and these are still bright. And Thor's cape's bright. I've seen some where this looks more pink than it does red. Just a cool book. It does have probably the initials of whoever owned it at some point in time, RG, right here on the cover that does take away from it. So I don't know if I'll grade this one or not. It's just not high enough grade, but it looks really good like it is raw. I've got 3 more books to show, and these are probably the 3 biggest books I've got so far. This is just kind of a classic, from my childhood, obviously similar to the others. Just the New Mutants 87. I've probably owned, at least 5 of these, maybe 10 in my lifetime. This is the one that's in the highest grade. It's got a couple of non-breaks right there that I'm going to have to get pressed out. But other than that, it's going to have a good shot at a 9.8 once it's pressed, I think. Of course, it's the first appearance of Cable and Strife on both in this one. And just a classic book. Just one of the better books from, late 80s, early 90s for sure. This one and New Mutants 98, probably the top 2. And a lot of people don't like the Rob Liefeld artwork, and I'm kind of in that category. But I'm very fond of it in the same breath, just because of how important it was to me as a kid. All these characters, so it's kind of mixed feelings on it now as an adult. I look at it now, and it's kind of garbage artwork, but it's also very period specific to that time. So I kind of live with it. But Todd McFarlane, on the other hand, especially with Amazing Spider-Man, loved him during that time period. So at least this one you get both of those guys. This was one I've never owned before, and I've wanted for a long time. And this is Astonishing Tales 25, which is the first appearance of Deathlock the Demolisher. So this Deathlock, this is 1974, I believe, is what year this book is. I didn't know much about this Deathlock. I knew more about the one around the early 90s. But I had seen this in Wizard and things like that, and seen this book and for years as a kid. And then as an adult, I just never picked one up. I don't know why. But I did have a chance to get this one in person at the Monsters Lair there in Lubbock that I mentioned earlier. And this book is in near perfect condition. It is in outstanding condition. This book is going to grade very, very, very high. And I just think that cover is one of the best covers for an origin and first appearance of a character. It's just very, very cool picture. You just get this one big picture of them right off the bat, and that kind of sets the tone for the character from then on. That's how I always see it. But I've seen this book before with the yellows not being bright, and the yellow on this one is it's perfect. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting this one graded for sure, because it's going to grade high. One last book here. I've looked for this one for the last 2 months. All of these I've bought in the last, probably ever since around the 1st of September. I've been buying them, and I've been waiting to do a video because I was wanting kind of one bigger comic book that I've hunted for a while. and I finally landed it the other day, and it's Amazing Spider-Man 101. And I've looked at so many of them that had wrinkles really bad along here. I was wanting to stay somewhere around a couple $100 for one. And I've seen so many of them that had wrinkles, all over the place. And this one doesn't have, lines and color breaks. On the other hand, it does have a little bit of paper loss just right there, right on the spine. So that's going to affect the grade quite a bit. I'm going to go ahead and get it graded. I just want it graded. And I'm starting to work on, I'm actually considering doing the full run 1 through 700 or whatever of Amazing Spider-Man. It would be a long-term goal. I've came close to having it all done before, but this is one I never owned. I owned probably most everything after 100, every book after 100. And I had some of the early books, never a number 1 or anything like that. But I'm considering taking on the mammoth task of the full run of Amazing Spider-Man, and I may do that. But it like I said, it would be a multiple years project to get it all done, of course. But Morbius, is a great Spider-Man character. This story arc, where he's got the 6 arms and everything like that, it's just a great story, and one of the better covers, of such an iconic character. A lot of Morbius covers, to me, they look great just because he's such a good character, and he's so pale white that the colors really pop. So I was very excited about getting this one. I've got several other books I'm looking at right now. I'm a big Adam Warlock fan, so I'm working on getting some more Warlock books, which I've had tons in the past. And then I'm going to keep working on Spider-Man, XMen, and then just some of the other key books that I've wanted to pick up for a very long time. And I've been doing cards for years, so now I'm kind of back into the loop of doing comics. So look forward to more comic haul books or comic haul videos, excuse me, after I pick up more books. So thank you for checking out my video, and leave some comments.